young and I'm bald, and I'm gonna tell you why you should be okay if you're young and you're bald. With the conversation, maybe let's get into it.
We're only here on borrowed time. We're only here on borrowed time.
But first, before we get into that conversation, I just want to say like, comment, subscribe, and share. Do all that great stuff for me, YouTube fans and YouTube people out here support me. I really would appreciate it. But let's just dive into a real conversation. So as you guys can see, I'm bald. I'm 30 years old. And the reason why I'm making this video is because I want to help out other young men, most importantly, that are balding, that are young. If you're older, 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, you can still apply this, but this is really for the younger guys because this is really about, our youth. And a lot of guys are embarrassed to lose their hair at a young age. Unfortunately, it's just a part of life. Some of us are going to be prone to losing hair much sooner than others. Most men experience losing hair at some point in their life, but if you're unfortunate or fortunate, or however you look at it, some people, some men, most likely lose their hair young. So I'm gonna tell you guys my story. I started losing my hair right around after I graduated high school. I think I was like 18. Um, I graduated, and then I think like 6 months later, I got a bad haircut. And I think my coworker was the first person to say something. They said, "Hey, like, Ty, your hairline's a little high." Now I'm thinking it's just a bad haircut, but I didn't really think much of it. You know what I mean? At this time, I had a big fro and everything kind of growing out, so I'm not thinking much of it. And you know, I just brushed it off with, okay, maybe it's just a bad haircut. By the time I was 19, I remember going to the bathroom one day, and like I said, I had a fro, but I was just combing it, and I didn't take the best care of my hair at the time, so I was just kind of okay, maybe it's just because I didn't take good care of my hair, like as much as I should have. So I'm thinking, okay, maybe I should just take better care and just really be on top of it, right? Because I had like hair falling out, and yeah, so I tried that, and then by 20, I was like, oh yeah, I stopped being in denial about it. I was like, yeah, I'm losing my hair fast. Um, and at this point, I think I was like in a relationship, and I think my girlfriend at the time had told me, it's like, hey, like you're losing your hair. I was like, yeah, I know. And this is the point where it started becoming obvious, noticeable to people. Like, you know what I mean? And I became self conscious of it. And I think this is one of the wrong times where, I started trying to use hair products and a lot of things to save my hair. Like I tried hair fibers, and I tried weaves and wigs and all these things. I looked into so many things, Bosley and all these things. And, I was desperate. I was like, oh my gosh, like I want to keep my hair, like, you know what I mean? And then, I remember one of the things that girl told me, the girl I dated years ago. Keep in mind, this was I was like 20, 21 years old. And she told me, she said, Ty, you're cool and all, but, I want a guy with hair. And it made me really insecure because at this point, I didn't really think too much of it. I was just like, okay. But it really did hurt my feelings, and I really made me insecure about it. So I would try everything to try to save my hair. Um, and it never really came back. Like, obviously, you know what I mean? I just started losing my hair at a young age, and it is what it is, you know what I mean? Um, Around the age of 23 or 24, I just said, screw it. One day, I just took that leap of faith because I was watching videos, and, I just had to accept it, like, bald, like, I'm losing my hair, like, you know what I mean? And at this point, I was getting haircuts, and I was just trying to get a low cut but keep some hair. And one day I just finally said, screw it, I'm going to go down here, go to a barber and just cut it off. And I was so insecure about it. And I was just like, I'm going to do it. Screw it. So I went, I did it. And yes, it felt weird. It felt very weird. I was super self conscious. And I was like, oh my gosh, what are people going to say? What are people going to think? And, you know, I I don't know if I got a lot of viewers that are women watching this, but I know women and hair is like a symbol of woman culture. And like, I know it's different and a lot harder for women who go bald. I do respect and understand that. Because it's like more focused on society that women need to have hair for some reason than men. I get that. So ladies, I definitely would think your struggle is a lot harder than men. So I just want to acknowledge that, you know. But, I will say this for men, we do care a lot about our hair too. Especially if we use it at a young age. Like if we lose it at a young age, it's definitely harder because I think most people associate losing hair loss in general with just getting old, like 40s, 50s, 60s. I don't think any man or woman, for the most part, imagines being 18, 19 years old losing their hair. You know what I mean? You just usually associate with just getting old. You know what I mean? So at this point, I cut my hair off, and it's a little weird at first, and I eventually just kind of came to accept it. You know what I mean? And yeah, so now I'm 30 years old. I go with my haircut. It's kind of growing out a little bit on the sides, but I'm gonna get that cut. But I'm pretty bald. And I just accept it and embrace it. It is who I am. I don't fault guys for trying to save their hair. If you are one of those guys watching that your hair is going, and if you want to try to save your hair, I'm no person to judge. Like, do whatever it is you want to do. I see all kinds of guys out here with super high hairlines or hair missing, and they're trying to save it. And that's not my place to judge. You know what I mean? But for the guys that just want to accept it what it is, once your hair is gone, it's gone. And if you are self-conscious and you just don't want to go bald, I definitely get that because I was away for a long time. But I think the biggest part is we just have to get acceptance of it. We're losing our hair. And for me, my personal choice, I just said, screw it, I'm just going to go bald. And once you're able to just accept it and do something about it, you lose that insecurity. You lose that sense of, something that bothers you. I no longer have that. Now I go outside in public and not seem to care or whatever. And yeah, it's just normal to me now. I mean, at first I was weird about it, but now it's just whatever, there's a lot of bald men out here, so it's normal. Look at all the people in Hollywood that are bald. Like, being bald is totally acceptable in our society. So, fellas, if you're thinking about going bald and you're losing your hair, just chop it off. If it's bad, just let it go. There are people that are still gonna like you. People are gonna accept you. You know that girl I just told you about that said that? Yeah, she wanted a guy with hair. But there's a lot of girls who don't care. There's a lot of girls that find Vin Diesel or Dwayne Johnson or Tyrese Gibson attractive. There's a lot of women. I mean, I've met girls that only wanted dudes who were bald. So if you're bald and you're a straight man out here, there's still plenty of women that will accept you and like you. And there's nothing wrong with being bald. Being bald is great. Just accept who you are and love yourself. And yeah. The reason why I'm having this conversation is because I feel like it doesn't get talked about enough. But it's okay, fellas, to be bald and be young and lose your hair. There's nothing wrong with it. And yeah, if any of you guys are young, we're like young, like under 35, and you guys have lost all your hair and you're starting to lose your hair, comment down below. I would love to hear your story, your personal journey. If you guys decided to cut it all off, or if you guys tried some hair treatments and trying to save it, or whatever the case may be, because I would love to hear your stories, because I know it's a sensitive subject, and I know how hard it is as a man to lose my hair at a young age. And just have a real conversation with somebody that you might know that's also experiencing hair loss and stuff like that. Because it's one of those things that I feel like universally we all get a little insecure about, and we just gotta embrace it and accept it for what it is. And with that being said, guys, you know what to do. Like, comment, subscribe, share. And until the next video, this has been Ty Granson. It's been nice talking to you guys. Peace.